Hey fam, Master Coach G here, thriving after 50, mind, body, soul. And I have a very special guest today. Miss Edlyn Cherry is joining us here. We kind of go back. She was a part of a challenge that I did a couple years ago, and I did an interview with her. And I'm gonna tell you, her life is just has drastically changed since then. She's had a lot going on, but she actually kind of on this health journey, and I really want to hear about it, and I wanted to share her journey with you guys. And so Ellen, welcome to Thriving After 50, Mind, Body, Soul. I appreciate you joining us here today. So tell us a little bit about who you are and tell us what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So I am I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a child of God. I am also at work. I am a project manager, program manager. I support clients and I support banks.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool.
Yes, ma'am. And thank
All
you.
right.
I really appreciate you having me on your show as a guest. So I look
Yes,
I,
yes, yes. I remember a couple years ago when I had the challenge, that you were, you were doing really well. You did very well through the challenge. And, I know then that you were, kind of starting out on your health journey. So tell us a little bit about your health journey and what made you decide to get on this path to health and wellness.
Absolutely. So, from my childhood, my weight was up and down. I grew up in a household where you're supposed to finish your plate. You're not supposed to leave anything on it. My
Yep.
mother loved me through food, and that's not always the healthiest things, but as we learn better, we do better with our own children, and it's supposed to be that way. So, it was some years back. I had done some studies about the raw food diet and how it actually worked miracles and healed a lot of people from different situations that they were in.
Mm-hmm.
So I did different challenges here and there, like 30-day challenges, but it really wasn't for me. It was,
Mm.
maybe a weight loss challenge at work or something like that, but it wasn't a self love challenge. So I think that's what you're talking about, which is one of the recent things that I had done for myself. And it really did inspire our family as well. So for 30 days, I had a wellness challenge for my company, Forest Books, and just to inspire positivity, just to have a self love challenge. And so for 30 days, I chose to eat raw foods. And I mean, a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables. I felt really good, really energized. One of my sisters joined alongside me, and her mother actually passed away from cancer, but had other health issues as well. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it really sparked good things. And now we are continuing on with that health journey. And we're actually ordering Dr. Sabi foods. If you've heard of Dr. Sabi and the food,
Yes, yes.
so that's what we're doing now. And a lot has really changed in our lives.
So tell me about some of the changes.
Absolutely. So one of the things that happened this year that I haven't really put out publicly was my husband, he had a health scare. He had they call it a hypertensive crisis. And
Mm.
so, one night he had just kind of been feeling some chest pressure, and he wasn't sure, he has like a football build and, he lifts and different things. He wasn't sure, like, did he do something wrong?
Right, right, like a strain or something.
Yeah, yeah. And as he began to lay down, he had said something about it, maybe like a few days here and there, but he didn't feel like it was anything concerning. And I just said, before you go to bed, let's just check your blood pressure. So he checked his blood pressure, and it was high. And he tried some natural remedies, and he tried taking a brisk walk, and he checked it again. And of course, his nerves are also high, so the blood pressure is just rising.
Right.
So uh, well, we decided, I said, because he's like, well, what do you want me to do? I said, well, let's just go and get it checked. We can be anti-medicine at time and holistic and all that, but when it comes to
Right.
emergencies, you got to take the necessary precautions to make it through.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I drove as quickly as I could to the emergency room. I called them. They said just bring him on in. And when he was there, he took some medication. They were trying to bring it down, and it continued to climb. It
Mm.
went up to, I think it was like 233 over 198.
Wow.
And they ended up giving him another drug. They said they didn't want to bring it down too fast because that was bad too, but
Yeah.
he was in a situation, and he made up his mind that day that he was not going to return to that emergency room if we came out of there, which
I
he
know
believed.
that's right.
So it was he hates hospitals, hates
Yeah.
hates
Yeah.
all of that. And I think for a while he had kind of been in denial that there was a blood pressure issue, and kind of
Mhm.
brushed it off, like it's what is it, like white collar syndrome?
Yep.
Yeah, you go in and you're saying it's high because you're at the doctor's office. But so this was really a wake up call for him and for our family. I was afraid, because
Yes.
your blood pressure can be lower than that and you can stroke out or you can die.
Yep.
But
Yep.
we had mercy, and he made up his mind that from that point forward, one, he was going to get off of that medication, and he was going to get off of it quickly. And he did.
Okay.
He did.
I know that's right.
Stopped eating out. He stopped going to the fast food places.
Mm.
He also he minimized his diet significantly. He did some intermittent fasting initially, and he really limits it to like one, occasionally two meals a day, but the meal
Mhm.
very clean. Like it might be chicken breast and vegetables, but not a lot of processed foods. He doesn't do that anymore, and I'm really, really proud of him, because in just a quick moment, you could lose somebody that you love over food choices, over habits, things that
Yes.
worth it.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
stress that you carry when you love someone,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it's not the best decision, but they have to make up in their minds what's best, for them.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. And another thing too is that, with your husband eating, all that processed food, imagine, your children eating that throughout their whole entire life, and, what the results would be for
Mhm.
them.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It didn't just start off. It wasn't something new. He
Mhm.
weren't a big baby, and from there, his parents always talked about how much he ate as a young child, and how many hot dogs he would take down, and he's just a big boy. And after
Mhm.
football games, his dad would buy him, two things on the menu so he could get two burgers. And so
Mm.
that kind of became a habit when he would eat out.
Right.
The
Yep.
street out, you got to
Yep.
get at least two things, because and maybe even when he played football, okay, you're burning it off, but what about the insides? What about, you really don't think about the blood pressure or what you're
Yep.
doing to your
Yep.
body, because you're
Yeah.
burning off calories.
Yep. Yep. Because you still have to be concerned with your cholesterol and your A1C, and all that still. I mean, you can't see what's going on with that on the inside.
Absolutely. So that really impacted our family tremendously. He doesn't take any days for granted. On the videos, I'm sure you've seen us out walking,
Mhm. Mhm.
walking in. And again, I'm just so proud. It just starts with, realizing there's a problem, making up your mind to make a change, and making that change and being consistent because you love yourself and you want to see another day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I did a podcast, and I think it's very important for people to understand that the awareness, that's the number one thing. Become aware of where you are with your health, and then acknowledge it. And then make the adjustments. And that's why those 3 A's are so important, because you have to be aware of it. Because and I understand when you said, it's like, he didn't think it was a big deal, and I did the same thing with the injury, and I just kept letting it go on and on and on, and now here I am, and looking like I'm going to be out for like another 3 or 4 months, all because I
Oh,
just was just real passive with it, which I shouldn't have been, but I was. So that's why we have to pay attention to, the signals that our body gives us. It's really important that we do that.
That's
Very important. It could save our lives, actually.
You're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yep.
it was a bit about my story, and we make a lot public, but a little over 2 years ago, I had a lot of stress in pregnancy, and there was just a lot going on. There was a lot of things that were going on, and it was very stressful. And one of my outs was eating food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Really good, and I was eating, Dr. Sabi. That didn't really vibe too well with my pregnancy early on, but it was crazy because when I began to eat like American food, I'm like, I feel good. And so instead of continuing to push through, I gave into that. So when, I just wanted to get away, I had my husband who loved this fast food, and we would go out together and, you know, um, eat. And I'd eat cheeseburgers, I eat fries. And, some people say, oh, when you're pregnant, it's about you. Just do what you want. It's your time. And, for some people that might work, but not for everybody. It can put you
No, it
in,
doesn't. Not for everybody.
right? And so, with my last son, you know the story, I ended up losing him. And I didn't realize, one, I had gained the most weight I ever had in pregnancy. Yes, there's a lot of things that went wrong and different things that should have happened. But of course, you're always going to look at yourself and say, what could I have done better?
Right.
And the things I could have done better is, not, I guess it's emotional eating, or because it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
That's always the best thing,
Yep.
because
Yep.
my son was beautiful and he was healthy, but he was really big, and
Mm-hmm.
that ended up being the reason why we lost our son. He got stuck, you know.
Mm.
So
Mm.
yeah,
Wow. Well, I'm sure that was a lesson learned, and it was definitely sound like it was a turning point, to let you know it's like, you know what, I really need to do something here.
absolutely. And again, like we've talked about, it really begins with, self love. And, I haven't made it public, but, during the Raw challenge, towards the end, one of the things my husband did, is he chose faith over fear. Now, I never thought, I just gave, after that situation, I just gave it all. I just surrendered and just gave it to the Father. But um, I am actually right after that Raw challenge. I had to start eating nuts towards the end because we are expecting. So I'm really early along. And again, like I mentioned, we're doing Sabi. We're, making much healthier choices, not
Mm-hmm.
um, physically, mentally, spiritually, in so many different ways. So the I believe that health really feeds everything else. Your happiness, it feeds your mindset, your ability to do well, your spirituality. When
Mind,
you're,
body, soul.
yeah, because when
Yep.
you're groggy, you have an
Yes.
attitude. You're not your optimal self, and
Nope.
you can't give your best self to anybody else, and you don't love yourself. You can't
No.
love yourself properly. So this is a new journey for me, and I am excited for this season.
Well, that's awesome. It's so good to hear that, that you have decided to get on the path to health and wellness, along with your family. And the good thing is that you are not taking another generation into what you and your husband lived through.
Oh, that's important. That's really important.
Yeah.
It's done really well. That's one of the things that we said, okay, we're not going to, even though our habits weren't always the best, and
Right.
we said we're not going to allow our children to pick up the same habits that we had.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to let them just keep eating because they want to eat and it tastes good. We're not going
Right.
to force them to overeat,
Yeah.
and we'll have healthy food choices. My
Absolutely.
He loves mango. He will eat a whole mango. He will eat a whole tomato. He will eat a whole avocado, and he will ask for it. But
Mm-hmm.
he grew up on Sabi, so it's different with what
Yes.
you introduce to your child at an early age.
Absolutely. Because the thing is that whatever you start them out with, that's all that they're gonna know. You
That's right.
know.
That's
Because,
right.
like, like when my daughter was growing up, I never bought sodas and I never bought junk food,
Oh,
period. But I remember we had some guests over and they brought soda, and my daughter stopped them at the door. She's like, "My mom doesn't allow that in our house." She was about 6.
that's really good. I mean, that's really good.
you know?
I was homeschooled and I learned that soda eats away at your bones, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really good. And I think
Yeah.
it's really important to say too, like you said, you had guests coming over, but also
Mhm.
your parents and your in-laws, it's
Yes.
important for them to understand and be on board because with my firstborn, he was a micro preemie. And, the doctors, I went to a holistic doctor and they were telling me, okay, give him really clean foods, no dairy, no,
Mhm.
things that the modern diet would say, oh, they need this, oh, they need that.
Oh yeah.
Give him the meat, give him the vegetables, give him whole foods. And so that's what I was doing. But
Mhm.
my in-laws was like, this baby needs XYZ. And when I had kids, my mother told me, and you should just listen. It was that kind of mindset
Mhm.
without fully understanding. Now when the second
Right.
came along on Dr. Sabi, they said we see a difference with this one.
Mhm.
It took them a while to come along with the first one because, like
Yes.
I said, they only know what you give them.
That's
And
right.
with the first one, I didn't give him anything bad.
Yes. Yes.
He opened up the fridge one day after coming home from his grandparents, and he said, "Apple." And I said, "Apple? You want an apple?" But he was in the fridge. He said, "Apple." And then he switched it up and he said a word that he shouldn't have known because I never gave it to him. He said, "Cookie."
Mm.
Ooh wee.
Yes. Yes.
We had to have, my husband and I, we had to talk and say, please, keep your parents on track with what we're doing with our son.
Right.
It's
Right.
important to have those conversations.
Yeah. Well, when they and it's just that old school thinking because even with my daughter, people would always offer her candy and she's like, no, thank you. And they were like, your mom said it's okay. I'm like, well, first of all, she doesn't eat candy, and they thought it was like really strange
Mhm.
that it's a child who doesn't eat candy. It's like, but she didn't grow up on candy, so she don't eat candy.
There you
You
go.
know?
There you go. And just be consistent. You
Yes.
Eventually,
Yes.
when she saw how well the my youngest did with the Dr. Sabi foods and healthy foods, she came along. She started to buy those same foods because she wanted to create treats that they would like. And so she
Right.
just learned how to make her treats differently. And they loved it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And that's
Mhm.
really all you have to do. You just have to, really just modify,
Right.
the regular recipe with, more holistic ingredients.
That's right. That's
Yes, yes. So
Mhm.
tell me, how have you been feeling since you've been on your new journey? And tell me what has been the most thing that you can say has really improved in your life.
Oh, the journey has been going really, really good. I would say in that 1 month, I lost 19 pounds. And I
Wow.
before and I've lost 31, but like I said, I introduced nuts towards the end. And it's
Mm-hmm.
about the weight. It's about, like you said, how did I feel? I felt energized. I felt mentally sharp. I felt spiritually clear. I felt like I was loving myself and I had more in me to love other people. So it's been uh it's been beautiful and it's been worthwhile, and something that we will continue. So
Yes, yes, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like now it's become a lifestyle. It's not just something that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a
right.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
You're living it now. It's not like you have to even think about it. It's like when you make out your grocery list. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
really a wonderful thing whenever you can sit back and know that you've worked this hard to be able to maintain a
Yes.
lifestyle of health and wellness, and not just you but your whole entire family, and that
Absolutely.
is the beauty of it, I'm telling you.
Absolutely. It's great to have that support and accountability because, uh, nobody's giving kickback in the house. I've done this before where again, like it was a competition or something like that. And I did it by myself while I still cooked the cheeseburgers and the chicken tenders and the lasagna and all the other stuff, that was regularly on the schedule for my husband. But now we get to do it together. Now,
Yes.
we're on board together. My sister's on board. My kids are on board, so
And that makes it so much easier. It really does.
it
you
does.
know because you don't have to worry about fixing, like, two or three different things. It's like you fix one thing
That's
and
right.
everybody's in harmony and everybody's eating the same thing, everybody's eating clean, everybody's eating healthy,
That's
and
right.
everybody's gonna be good.
That's right. That's right. And it impacts your friends. There's other people who have messaged me and said you inspired me, or they've texted me and said I'm changing up my diet because, I saw what you guys were doing on social media. So that's a blessing, because a
It
lot
is.
suffer, and just to make a few lifestyle changes and just get going.
And the thing is that is you can just start with something small. People always think that they got to do all this stuff. It's just start with a small, one little small adjustment. It's like, if you only eat vegetables, and I'm just speaking hypothetically, if you only eat vegetables twice a week, then you know what? Add another day. Just start there. Just add another day to eating more vegetables. If you don't eat fruit during the day, then you know what? Just start with 2 days a week and say, you know what? I'm just gonna pick up some fruit and just
That's
eat fruit a
good.
couple days a week. Just start off small and then grow into it. I think that people always, look at these big old plans and think that they got to have all this stuff and do all these things. It's like, you know what? If you take smaller steps, you can become more consistent. And that's really what the goal is to be consistent with
That,
it.
that's right. Put that soda back, get a water bottle, just, once
Exactly.
a day.
Yep. And then eventually you'll just stop going down the soda aisle. You'll stop going down the cookie and candy aisle. You won't even go. I don't even go down those aisles anymore. The chip aisle. You won't even go down those aisles anymore.
Yeah. There's some-
So that is the key. You really want to you want to be able to prolong your life. People are dying prematurely. I mean, seriously. I mean, this month alone, when you just look at the deaths, I mean, I went on Facebook one day and there was this girl that was celebrating her birthday that morning, and
Mm.
by noon the girl was dead. I'm like, what?
Oh,
Seriously? I mean, people are saying happy
yeah.
birthday, and right after 12 o'clock, they're saying rest in peace. I'm like, wait a minute,
Oh,
what
wow.
what happened?
Oh,
You
that's
know
sad.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, and she was a young girl. She was only like 41.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's like, people are just, and that's why we gotta do better with our health. And
That's
and I know that you've been on this journey, and I
mhm.
wanted you to be able to share, how you were able to stay on, what your challenges were, because it's not always easy. Just like, when you get to a certain point, that it becomes easier. But when you're starting out, it's not easy, but you just have to be consistent. And I'm just so glad and happy and proud that you have been
Thank
consistent, and your family has joined in, your in-laws and your sister, and
you.
you got people at work that's joining you, and that's awesome that you're making that kind of impact in people's lives. Because I tell people, it's like, hey, I can't do it by myself. It's like, I do what I can, but
Right.
I can't reach everybody. So it's like, that's why I want people to come on and tell their story, so that way, I'm gonna send you the video, I mean the audio, and that way you can send it to your friends so they can hear it. Because I think people need to be able to hear other people's story and know, it's like, what, hey, what, I had that same struggle, or I went through that, or I'm going through that, or whatever the case may be. So
That's right.
I really appreciate you taking the time to um to come on, Thriving After 50, Mind, Body, Soul. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and continue on this journey, you and your family. And it just sounds like it's more of a ministry for you. And
Yeah.
and I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful that you are on this path and you're on this journey, because it definitely helps me. It just helps me with another voice, with
Mm.
saying, that what I'm speaking and what I'm saying is really the gospel truth. It really is.
Right.
You
That's
know.
that's right. You can't
Yes,
leave it
ma'am.
to God. People, you can be spiritual all you want, but we got to have the faith with the works, because you
Yes.
know what to do, but we actually have to apply it. And I'm preaching to myself because I knew a lot of things, but
Yeah.
apply
Yep.
it.
Yep, yep. And and that's where the godly wisdom come from, because when we obtain the knowledge and
Mhm.
we apply the knowledge, then we become more wise,
That's
So it's really about applying, and that's what I always say before I get off the air, is like, what, remember that knowledge applied is power, because that's where your power is when you apply the
mhm.
knowledge. It
That
really is.
That's right. Absolutely. I agree
And
100.
you have done just that. You have taken the knowledge and you have applied it, and you see the results. Because, realistically, and that's why I call them principles. If you apply the principles of God, it will work for anyone. I don't care who you are, where you're from, what your
Mhm.
background is. It doesn't matter. If it's a
That's right.
principle, it's going to work, you
That's
know?
right.
And that's why I help people understand, if you can change your mindset about your health, and you can develop good habits, and you can get your sleep,
Mhm.
and you can eat clean and
Oh,
healthy, and drink your water. I'm telling you, those things right
whew.
there, that's our lifeline to health.
Yes. That you mentioned sleep. That is
Yes,
that I slept so good. My husband sleeping so good.
yes, yes,
Sleep apnea goes away.
absolutely,
It's
yes.
a lot that has changed and
So
transformed.
many things, so
Yeah.
many things. Even with drinking your water, how it helps your digestive system, and how it helps you with clarity. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, but
Right.
guess what? It's a principle of God, and if you apply the principle of drinking enough water, guess what? You will see the results of it. If you eat clean, then you will see the results of it. If you get 30 minutes of exercise at least a day in, you will see the results of it. I'm telling you, these principles work.
That's right. Yes,
They
ma'am.
work. So thank you again so much for joining us and sharing your story. And I just want everybody to, please, 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 just enjoy this testimony, because it is a testimony. I have seen her go from where she was to where she is right now, and I'm telling you, just in a couple years, that her lifestyle has changed drastically. I'm very proud of you, and I
Thank
thank you for your consistency and your diligence with your pursuing your healthy path and your healthy lifestyle. So thank you again for joining us, and if you have any closing remarks, please feel free.
Well, thank you so much. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be on your platform. Thank you for doing what you're doing and being an inspiration and showing us that, okay, when we get a little bit older, we don't have to be, all sickly. We don't have to be on all these meds. You showed us how you can reverse disease. I've seen you do it for your mom. It's
Yes.
such an inspiration. So thank you so very much. You are great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Hey, listen, fam, that's what I have for you today. I hope this episode has added value to your life. Thank you for joining me here on Thriving After 50, Mind, Body, Soul. But before I get out of here, let me give a quick shout out to my listeners in the United States, Canada, Australia, Russia, Mexico, Belgium, Ireland, South Africa, Brazil, Nigeria, United Kingdom, Germany, France, Bangladesh, Ukraine, Kuwait, India, and Hong Kong. And the listening audience is constantly growing. I appreciate you all for joining me here on Thriving After 50. If this podcast has been a benefit to you, please subscribe and follow, share, and write me a review. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And remember, knowledge applied is power. And this is Master Coach G, and I will see you